Is it possible to keep your business alive if you've racked up nearly $1 million of debt? This is Jack, and his pub in Melbourne racked up a debt of $950,000 across business loans, credit card debt, as well as outstanding GST and superannuation. So Jack came to us wanting to keep his business afloat. Now, Jack had two options here: go for a small business restructure or a voluntary administration. But what's the difference? They both provide a great pathway to restructure Jack's debts, protect his business, and create a pathway forward. They both allow the business to propose to creditors how the debts can be addressed. So a small business restructure is a great option for smaller businesses, a category for which Jack's business falls into. It creates a plan to adjust the amount of debt a company has and alter the timeframe in which it needs to pay it back. However, to enter into a small business restructure, Jack will need to meet the eligibility criteria. Total debts under $1 million, lodgements up to date, all entitlements must be paid, no director has entered into a simplified liquidation or an SBR in the past 7 years, and is or likely to become insolvent. On the flip side, voluntary administration is more for larger businesses. It's when an external practitioner is appointed to take over control of the company in an attempt to resolve the debts. One thing to note is that there is no eligibility criteria for a voluntary administration. The outcome of a VA after some assessment will be voted on by creditors to liquidate the company, to hand back control to the directors, or to enter into a deed of company arrangement, known as a DOCA. Now, what a DOCA is it's a formal agreement in which the company outlines how it will address the debt, but it's a little bit more complicated than an SBR. Nevertheless, the option that Jack goes for is protected with a moratorium. This is a legal protection from creditors taking legal action against him for the debts. So why would a business go for an SBR over a VA? Well, an SBR is a lot faster, more streamlined, and cheaper. Additionally, the director stays in control of their business, compared to a VA, as the administrator would take control. Given the clear benefits of an SBR, is there any reason why Jack would go for a VA? Well, yeah. If there's a complicated legal battle that Jack just doesn't want to have to deal with, the administrator who's in control of the company would be dealing with it. And as that administrator would be a registered practitioner, they'll be more accustomed and more equipped to deal with it. Or perhaps Jack has wound up with some messy contracts or has a complex group entity structure that would benefit with the extra time and oversight that a VA would offer. Or maybe a business doesn't check off the eligibility criteria, and taking the steps to become eligible would take up more resources than simply doing a VA. In the end, Jack opted for an SBR, but we had to act quick so he could become eligible and stay eligible. If Jack waited an extra 6 months, the interest and penalties on his debts would bring the total to above $1 million, which is above the threshold for an SBR. But before we could lock that in, we needed to clear the super debt, as one of the eligibility criteria for the SBR process is to have all employee entitlements up to date, including superannuation. So we secured a business loan to clear his super debt and make the business eligible. Together with Jack, we proposed 22 cents on the dollar to creditors, meaning that we would reduce his $950,000 debt by 78%, down to a far more manageable $209,000. Additionally, this would be paid back monthly over an 18-month term, giving Jack some much needed breathing space and hope for the future of his business.